No, don't.
It's too late.
Come on, dude, don't.
It's already in motion.
Well, put it out of motion.
You pissed me off.
Hot takes, regular show, bring it.
Have a nice week, Diaper Boy.
I like the show, but stopped watching because I got very annoyed that it turns into relationship drama, starring Mordecai. I'm not too sure about the frequency of the main romantic sort of arc being that apparent, but I am aware of how annoying the romance is. I guess it is sort of my hot take, but the romance in the show was annoying. Characters would run away so often that you would think they're just artificially extending the arc because there isn't any substance beyond that. I also agree that Mordecai was the star, both with him not facing what he wanted and being in the middle of Margaret and CJ. It really didn't come across as a riveting tale of three young, confused adults trying to figure out romance, and more like three bumbling idiots whose communication skills rival those robotic dogs that were everywhere last decade. It can't be just me that wonders why these aren't as popular as they were, right?
Hold still.
Ow! What was that for?
You're not thinking about the song anymore, are you?
I prefer the slice of life nature of the old episodes. The episodes in space are okay, but nothing tops the original regular show as it began. Nice, one of my amino peeps came in. And there's a link in the description, by the way. But absolutely, the park is such an influential backdrop when it comes to regular show. The space aspect does seem to throw some people off, as does many things when later seasons come around. I mean, look at Adventure Time. If you look at the first episode there, and then you look at the finale, it's kind of like a whiplash of information. Now granted, regular show, it isn't that jarring, but the point still stands. An ongoing story was picked up towards the latter seasons, and I do have a slight bias against slice of life shows. I think the quote normal nature of the park and the city contrasted against their extraterrestrial adventures really made the show. And if they started out in space, it wouldn't have the same pull, but then again, that's me saying this in hindsight.
Well then, I guess it's showtime!
Gun! Eat that, sucker!
Regular show is really underrated. I disagree. Regular show is a great show, one of the best modern Cartoon Network shows that we'll possibly ever get. I love the art style, the comedy, the sound design, the relationships between the main crew. However, to say that it is underrated would mean that many people do not believe this. Regular show gets ranked as one of the best modern Cartoon Network shows, among possibly Adventure Time. It's credited as one of the shows to push Cartoon Network as the fan favorite children's network. It's widely considered a fantastic example of integrating the 80s in a way that's tolerable and also enjoyable. It is also considered being one of the best examples of being a mature show but still okay for everyone to watch. I think it gets a lot of praise, and if anything, a hot take here would be if you said it was overrated, considering many of the hot takes here are about how it's better than another good show. Like for example,
Cheese these nachos.
as much as I think Avatar: The Last Airbender is better than regular show, I still like regular show better. From the chunks of Avatar that I've seen, this also seems to be a pretty lukewarm take. Now, I've seen Avatar a little bit, and not to disrespect my IG audience, I love my IG audience. This also seems to be a pretty lukewarm take. They're both really good shows, and even if we were to put aside the they're serving different purposes argument, there's great arguments for either show. One was a lot more cinematic, it had better storytelling, but one is funnier, and it had the advantage of bringing a mature, sort of vintage take that sticks with people. It's one of those takes where I wouldn't be surprised if I did Avatar and someone pretty much said the other thing around, where you think regular show is better than Avatar, but you still like Avatar better. Either take really seems reasonable. I like how cartoony regular show was in the early seasons, and not a fan of how they changed the animation in later seasons. Regular show had a very expressive art style that favored its common and okay animation, and it was clear that while the show wasn't exactly wacky, there were remnants of a very cartoony source of inspiration around the show. You saw this a lot with the way that the characters would flare their arms or the reactions they'd give, and to compare this to later seasons, because the show got serious, it would be logical to think that the animation would follow suit. And geez, I realize I'm disagreeing with a lot of takes in this one. Put a pin in this, that this may be my downfall.
I was wondering if you wanted to. I can't do this! This heart beats for another!
Muscle Man was never funny. What? You don't like my mom? Wow. His comedy was more on the bro side, as it was very clear what kind of person he was. And it's not like they never developed that joke, by the way, as I remember it was a big part of a certain episode. And not even that, but the times when he'd flail himself into a situation only to get completely destroyed is just funny to see with his screech war cry. I guess if it was real life and I had to deal with Muscle Man, I probably would never find the stuff he did funny, but for this, no. Muscle Man is extremely funny.
Using the power in your face, sending you back to your place. Don't look at our crotches while we synchronize our watches.
I actually never liked Regular Show until 2013, then I was hooked. Okay, first of all, capitalizing all the letters, come on. So anyway, 2013 is the middle of season 4, and from researching that, I found that I was the opposite. I was hooked until around 2013, 2014, where after that, I would sporadically watch the rest of the show and drop off sometime in space, which was their last season. And for me, it was either that or Adventure Time at the time, because those were the only two shows that were really popular and around. And I was never a big fan of Adventure Time, if my lack of covering the show shows this. This was just funnier, it appealed to more stuff that I liked, and you gotta remember, I wasn't a reviewer at the time, so watching things that doesn't appeal to me was really at the bottom of my to-do list. It's actually interesting to hear this perspective, because most people would drop off where you'd start, as the more seasons one would have to catch up with is such a big ask that many people don't want to take on. And it's why story-heavy shows, at least many of them, get worse and worse as ratings go on and seasons go on.
Ah, cool, a contract. Let's sign it.
Coffee, coffee.
Hot take? You really didn't have to add the hot take. I kinda know what this video is. Regular Show is the best CN cartoon ever. Ever. That's the keyword here. Well, you'd have to look at its competition. Some people would give that title to Adventure Time among Ed and Eddie, Dexter's Lab, Samurai Jack, Foster's, or Powerpuff Girls, Billy and Mandy, probably even Chowder or Gumball, even Teen Titans. This isn't like Nickelodeon, where personally you can call Avatar, Harvey Beaks, or The Loud House the best they've offered in a decade, and have quite a bit of people agree with you. Cartoon Network has constantly put out beloved show after beloved show in any era you wish to pluck it out from. So to say that, you better pack some major reasons. And for me, I can't say that. Gumball, Ed and Eddie, Billy and Mandy, Dexter's Lab, I would consider those right next to Regular Show, possibly even better. It's not an easy choice, but I could agree that Regular Show may be top 5. And if I did a tier list, it would be top tier, for sure. But to call it the best, that would require some serious reasons. What was the point of High Five Ghosts again? I know it wasn't a roast, I know you're just asking a question, but geez, questioning a person's existence is at the very least a jab. So as you guys know, High Five Ghosts is Muscle Man's best friend. When you look back on Regular Show, if you were to rank the crew, so Mordecai, Rigby, Skips, Benson, Pops, Muscle Man, and High Five Ghosts, yes, he'd be the bottom of significance. They didn't have that many High Five centered episodes, more so than Muscle Man and High Five Ghost centered events. I guess it's like Gary or Sandy and SpongeBob, where they weren't focused on enough. But the point is to be a member of the crew in Park, and I guess you could say they didn't expand on him enough.
Don't talk about my mom!
I will be doing a Patreon exclusive version of this with all new Regular Show hot takes, and that'll be up within this month. There's already a SpongeBob exclusive one posted there. I wish SpongeBob would have more crossovers. Yes, I agree with this so much. But if you want to see the last hot takes around Steven Universe, here you go. And this is the hot takes around Total Drama. And until next time guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Alpha out.